Welcome to the Diabetes Nerd podcast. I am your host, Ginger VIEIRA. I've lived with type 1 diabetes for about 25 years, since 1999. And this episode, we're going to be talking about my first few days with the Eversense 365-day implantable CGM. With me in this episode is my friend BJ Garceau. She's lived with type 1 for about the same amount of time, actually, and she's got a lot of questions about how it went getting this put under the skin of my arm last week. We're going to dig into everything. Here we go. All right, so the Eversense implantable 365-day CGM starts out with a procedure that takes this thing that looks kind of like a mini Tylenol capsule. Like one of the ones that have a nice little cute plastic shell, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they cut a little incision, like I'd say it's like kind of the width of my thumb.
Okay. How far deep do they go for the incision? Is it just right on the skin level? Like, did they give you an estimate on how
Like
far?
the length of, you can see it. I have video I'm going to put on YouTube.
Great.
Tara filmed the whole procedure. She
Okay.
was there with me. So I would say the scalpel was like about this long, the white part of it. So, I mean,
Yeah.
that's not even a full inch, right?
Did
And
they put you under or anything for it, or did you
they
just did you watch them? Like,
I was
what did
on
they
a
use?
massage table. I couldn't watch because you're lying on your side and there's just no way to watch. And then there's also a big sanitation like thing over me with a hole just on my
Yeah.
arm because
Yeah.
they create total sterile environment, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's an
And
outpatient surgical procedure. For those who don't know, I
yeah,
work in
I mean, I
surgical
wasn't even
myself.
in the
Yeah.
hospital. I was in a
Outpatient.
rented room in a little virtual clinic they created for a bunch of us that all came to Lebanon, New Hampshire, because the woman that's really, they couldn't find any new clinicians in our area to
Yeah.
train on the procedure. So I got a pro, Danielle Gallen. She was down in Boston. She's done a million of these. So she came up and met a bunch of us. There was 3 people getting their implants done
Yeah.
on Monday. So it was a little slice, right? And then they take this bigger thing and kind of push it into the hole to make a space for the
Mm-hmm.
capsule, right? Because it's all tissue in there. You can't just poke.
Yeah.
It's not Play-Doh. And then they pull that out and then they insert what looks like kind of a giant lipstick thing with the capsule in it into the hole, and then they place the sensor. And then they pull out the lipstick thing. The sensor's now in there, right? The thing that
Okay.
looks like a Tylenol pill.
Yeah.
And then they put steri strips, which is kind of like just
Yeah.
fancy medical tape. There's like 5 of them
Mm-hmm.
on there. And then gauze, and then a bandage. And then I can take off this whole bandage thing 5 days after. So this weekend I'll take it off. But, the longer it's on there, the better to protect and keep the
Yeah.
incision sterile. And then this goes on top. So eventually it will just be this with the cool silicone thing. And I have to tell you, I love this thing already. It's
Well,
so
that's
much more
incredible.
accurate. The accuracy is so much better. I still have my Libre on,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Tara wants me to put a Dexcom on too. I'm like, "Ugh, I don't want all the things on." But yeah.
You should. You should just,
I will. I might do it today. It's been a
yeah.
little overwhelming of like, I just want to make sure I learned everything I needed to here. All I have in my cupboard is G7s. So I know, and G7s are terrible in my opinion, which is why they're
Well,
sitting in my cupboard and not being used.
because there's a lot of news coming out about Dexcom's G7, which I love the G6, about how it's going to have a 15-day wear.
Yeah,
And
but the small
but
print. Did you hear the fine
yeah,
print?
1 out of 4 are going to fail.
Yeah.
25% are going to fail, and they'll only replace like what, 2 a year
Yes.
now?
Yeah.
I mean, I do like the smallness of it. I
Yeah.
have a skin grip I cut apart to do that, and I see yours is on your arm.
Yeah.
I like that, but however, just the accuracy which is
I
very
feel like
dangerous when
they
you're,
rushed it out in order to keep up with the Libre because the Libre is smaller and they didn't want to. Oh,
yeah.
I just started getting data on my thing.
Yay! Look at that number. That's a great number.
Yeah, okay. So a really crazy thing about this, I have been comparing and documenting. And I'm going to include more of this in the YouTube video.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll have it ready next week. But I've been testing with the glucose meter and several different glucose meters. So yes, my glucose meter is accurate. I've been using several different. I have three,
Yeah.
and then comparing what the Libre says to the Eversense. Most of the time, my Libre has been at least 50 points higher than what
What?
Eversense and my glucose meter say.
50 points? That could be a life or death glucose level.
Well, the real problem, I mean, right now this says 181.
Is that
I
your
just checked
Libre?
my blood sugar. Yeah, I just checked
Yeah.
my blood sugar. I'm not at 181. This is wrong. And what that does to me is it means I go take a correction insulin for this, right? I would take it sooner. I would take it when I see the spike happening.
Yeah.
And then I end up going low.
Yeah. And it's one of those things with the inaccuracy of that when you're on, so Ginger's on manual daily injections. We all know this. She's a badass. She has it fine tuned. And then I'm on a tandem Mobi, which I absolutely love. Now, where Ginger's talking about giving herself more insulin to correct that, one amazingly awesome thing about insulin pumps and also dangerous thing about insulin pumps is they react if you're on a smart IQ, which is great, but if your sensor's reading wrong, it's going to overcorrect you or
Yeah.
stop your insulin. So
It's
for
too
example, when I
much.
was on the bus to Boston
Hey,
and it
here's
read
my, look at
low,
this. I just want to show you.
just shut it off. Yeah, see?
122, 180. Because I just started
Oh, it
second.
just went up.
Yeah, I just started to second guess. Like, well, maybe I really am 180. Maybe Eversense is wrong. Nope. Eversense is right. My blood sugar is
Very right.
122. And this, I feel like I've been on a lot of, I like a lot of roller coasters. I just feel like, I don't know. This explains some of the problems I've had. Also, like, that means that my time in range looks way worse than it actually is. And then I'm really annoyed with how inaccurate the Libre is now that I can compare it with the Eversense.
And it's one of those things, though. I mean, we pointed out, so you have the Libre that you very clearly showed us is inaccurate. The Dexcom, which mine was reading low, it shut off my insulin for a bus ride. And then my blood sugar was 145, which I needed insulin. And it's one of those things where we're either with smart IQ or however your insulin pump uses, or if you're like a MDIer, our insulin doses are incorrect
Yeah.
for the
I
number
mean,
reading, and that is incredibly
why I'm
dangerous
not
for a
on a,
diabetic.
this is why I'm not on an automated system, which is a tangent to the Eversense. But a lot of people have been asking me, when is Eversense going to be connected to an automated insulin delivery pump? And we know that they have FDA approval. They just have not announced which pump they're working with. So
That's
I'm
going to be a
sure
big
it's
game
coming.
changer.
Yeah, I'm sure it's coming. And yeah.
Who do you think they're going to go
So,
with? It's like picking the prettiest girl. It's like being on Tinder for insulin pumps. Like,
yeah.
who am I going to pick? Like, which one's the best one? You know?
Yeah, well, and I
I
know
wonder
there's,
who they're.
for a lot of people, I know this whole procedure thing is daunting, right? The only painful part was the injection of the numbing stuff. And so my arm was totally numb. And when they were doing all that other stuff with the scalpel and all that, I did not feel a thing. And honestly, it wasn't even sore after. Like, to
Oh,
touch
cool.
the first day, it was maybe a tiny bit tender. But I've been jumping rope, I've been jogging, I've had no pain.
So they do the surgical procedure,
Yeah.
and so what is the black device on the outside?
Here's the transmitter. The data is being sent to the transmitter, and then that also is getting sent to my phone from the transmitter. And this sits on top. People were like, on some of the comments the other day, people were like, oh, so you still have to wear something on the outside? And I was like, yeah, you still have to collect the data. Like, the sensor in my arm can't talk to my phone while it's over here.
Right.
Like, so also, the other reason you do want this on your arm is you get on body vibration. So a lot of people have said, well, it's so big. I'm like, yeah, this thing doesn't vibrate, right? This thing does.
Yeah, I've never
So
had a CGM vibrate. It's always the pump.
oh, there isn't
Usually it's the
one.
pump or my phone. So
Yeah.
that's incredible.
That's been so cool because
Excuse me.
the Libre I cannot silence if I want the alarms on. There's no such thing as a vibration alarm on the Libre. And I'm sure they've been watching me trash talk this for months, and they're fixing
I'm
that.
going to say you're not trash talking, but you're
I
speaking the
have a
truth.
little bit. It's the truth, yes. I mean, it's a
Well, and it's what,
terrible feature that they think people with diabetes don't need to wander around the
yeah.
earth quietly.
And
Uh,
this is something I just have a problem with like, because I got a message from Tandem about my post about the Dexcom 7. They made a comment on it like, oh, make sure to contact customer service and do all these things. I'm like, listen, me and customer service are best friends. So for people to, for where you're going with that is that who cares if the big companies are watching? The big
I don't.
companies are obviously not. That's what I'm saying. And this is why people love you. And this is why I love working with you, because we have too many diabetics out there who behind the scenes are agreeing with what you're saying, but online because they're
Oh, are
afraid these
saying
big,
G7
you
is
know what I'm
great,
saying?
but I
Yeah,
mean, Dexcom needs
we
to
need
be
more
held
truth.
accountable for how terrible the G7 is. They need to acknowledge it and stop letting
So
it make
bad.
decisions. Libre needs to acknowledge that people with diabetes do need quietness sometimes. For the last couple months, I've had to every day, multiple times a day, I turn my Libre off because it's the beeping. And I know I could just turn the high alarms off too, but then it's like, well, if it's not alarming me at all, what's the point? I would just want a vibration in my phone. Why is that so much to
Right.
ask? And the other problem with it is that, like in the middle of the night, it'll tell you, hey, you just crossed 160 is my high threshold, or you just went below 70. And you acknowledge it, and then it'll do it again 5 minutes later. Beep, beep, beep. And why? Leave me alone. So here's the cool thing about this. In the Eversense app, you have a snooze alarm feature. So I can set it to 30 minutes and I don't even have to acknowledge the thing in my phone at all, which is great
Yeah.
because G7's like that too. If you don't acknowledge the thing on your screen, it will keep beeping at you.
It will not stop. It can't stop, won't stop. It's
It
very
will,
annoying.
yes, it's like the
Yeah.
Terminator.
And like
And
sometimes I find myself talking to it, like, I just ate, leave me alone. Like,
right. And that also actually, when it keeps beeping at you, it makes you feel like you might still be low and in danger. So then I'm more likely to overtreat if I don't turn it off, right? Because it's still telling me there's an emergency, even though I already addressed
right.
the emergency.
It
So
feels like a kid because you're a mom and I am not. But it feels like to me when I hear the Dexcom, I think about like kids like grabbing your pant, like mom, mom, mom,
yeah,
mom,
yeah.
mom, mom,
I don't
mom. Like that's how
respond
I
well to
feel about
that.
my CGM sometimes. I'm like, I just want to be like, go to your room, go to
Yeah.
your room, Dexcom.
I
Like you
feel
need a
like when they
timeout.
designed this stuff, they were so intense about we need to let the person with diabetes know their blood sugar has changed, and they forgot about the quality of life part and the right? And the anxiety that was going to be created by the constant alerting. Like we're still human beings. Can you imagine, So, snooze
Can
alarm,
you
I have it
imagine?
set.
Can you just imagine being in the boardroom for like creating the sounds for like
I would
Dexcom, being like if
love
me and you were
that
sitting
there.
there, I'm like, Ginger, we need more beeps. That's not beeping enough. We need to,
It needs to be harsher.
who's these?
Yeah, it needs to be harsher and like yeah, they heard that sound and they thought that was great. Like
We need more of that sound, please. The
I don't know
diabetics
if
are
they
gonna
think
love
we're
it.
all just sitting at home all the time eating donuts, and so it doesn't matter if we're making a lot of really terrible sounds. I got scolded
Oh,
recently at a conference for having my phone on because my Libre alarm went off. And it was actually me closing the app because I knew it might go off. But when you close the app, an alarm goes off too. So anyway,
mom,
I'm
mom,
not a
mom,
fan.
mom.
I like the Libre better than the Dexcom, but I kind of hate both, right?
Yeah,
So let me tell you how the snooze alarm works.
please do.
I have it set for 30 minutes. It told me that my blood sugar was 65. I ate like 3 or 4 Sour Patch Kids. I did nothing else. It vibrated on my arm. I think I might have tapped my arm to tell it, like, hey, I got you. I hear you. Right? And so that's acknowledging the alert. I didn't have to take out my phone or look at my screen at all. And then it left me alone and I went back to sleep.
Amazing.
Yeah. It never beeped at me again because in 30 minutes my blood sugar was over 70 and it calmed down and let me live my life again.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think I'm sold on this. So, just a question about the transmitter. How good is that? Good, like, is that good for days, weeks? How
Oh
often?
no,
What's the battery life on it?
this is my new best friend for a year.
Okay.
Yep. And you charge it. Here's my charger. Oh, here's my
How
charger.
long is your best friend
Charger.
good on your arm? Like, is your best friend, can your best friend hang out with you for weeks?
I mean, this is going to be a long friendship, but I have to charge the friendship once a day. Now that's what they recommend, is charge it once a day for 10 minutes. And so you could do that while you're in the shower. You could wear it in the shower too, but I'm going to
Oh, is
try
it
to.
waterproof?
Yeah, you can swim in the pool with it. I am going to try to get in a habit of charging it while I'm in the shower because it's just a fine time to take it off, right? So like yesterday I charged it in the morning. Today when I went to charge it, it said the battery on it was still at 63%. So it really
Nice.
can last, if you were not able to charge it right away at 24 hours. It's not like you're bumping up to the edge of its lifespan.
What kind of port does it use? Because I know my with
It's the
I
classic Android port. So, which I appreciate that they did, right? They didn't
yeah,
create some custom thing that if I lost this, I'm screwed, right? Instead, if I lost this, I've got 17 others just like this
yeah,
somewhere in my house. And,
yeah.
or if you're traveling and you forgot to pack it, it's a
Go to the
really
gas
easy thing to
station.
go find in the gas
Yeah.
station. Yeah. So thank you,
Oh, that
Eversense,
makes me
for
so
not,
happy.
yeah, for not pulling an
Well,
apple and making some
yeah, because
cool.
I actually fell asleep last night and I didn't charge my pump and I went hours without insulin and then I lost all
Oh,
my data. But I'm just saying, like, it's such a headache
yeah. It's a
with
pain in
specific
the hole.
chargers that you need. So
Yeah.
I'm really happy to hear that about
Yeah.
your CGM
It's
because you
right.
can
It's
literally do
real
you
life.
can charge it in the car. You can charge it. You don't need to pull out a big fancy charger that you can't replace. So you're selling me on this CGM, Ginger. This
I
sounds like a
feel
dream
like
come true
they
for type 1 for
really,
diabetics.
I feel like the people who design this are like, how do we make this as simple as possible for people with diabetes? And they actually, instead of just thinking about, oh, we want to save them from lows, they thought about the whole quality of life around this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
I,
incredible.
yeah, I'm
So,
already so like I'm so happy about not having something beep at me all the time. I can't even tell you. And being able to leave my CGM on and know that I am going to get alerts, but that they're going to be quiet. I
yeah,
like, I'm just so happy.
you look very well rested. Like you
I've
look like
got
you've
some
gotten
good
some
sleep.
sun,
Oh
you look
yeah,
well
better
rested.
falling
You're
asleep. Yes. Yes.
yeah, with my pale ass out here in Maine, I'm like I was awake
I
from
live one state
my
over from you. I
inaccurate
don't,
CGM.
I live one
Like,
state over from you. We barely had sunshine until today for like 6 months, so I'm
but
equally
no, you look
cold.
fantastic. Like this is great. So I want to go back to that. So that's going to be your best friend for a year.
Hmm.
What happens after a year? So like when you guys change
And we break
everything,
up.
what happens after this? Do you get another
So
one put in?
after a year, you get it removed and you get another one put in. They can put it in a new spot if you want, but they can also put it in the same spot, which I
It's
think I'd probably go for. And the capsule thing does have a tiny dose that's gradually released of a steroid to help fight the inflammation and help it heal properly.
That's amazing. That's absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, how long has this been on the market?
The 180 day has been around for a couple years.
Okay.
The one that lasts 180 days. This got approved last year for 365 days, and I have been trying to get it since December, and it's now April 24th. So I had
So
to
with
play games with my insurance company, which we've probably already talked about, but yeah.
yeah, well, and for listeners out there, because as most of us T1Ds, we understand the headache of pre-authorizations, insurance. I mean, you literally just said December. Like, I want this sensor for Christmas. That's all I want, Santa. He's like, you got to wait till April. You know. So
Exactly.
how difficult was it for you because you have health insurance?
So your insurance isn't going to jump at the opportunity to cover this because it's new. And it's roughly the same cost that they would spend on a year's worth of Libre or Dexcom, but that cost is all at once. So I can tell you, let me get right to the price part. I
Yeah,
paid
please.
$199 for the actual technology to be shipped to the clinic folks that were going to do the procedure. And then I paid the nurse that did the procedure works for a clinic called Eon Healthcare, and
Yeah.
Eversense's company Essentia, I think, contracts out with Eon to have that nurse do procedures for them. So I paid the nurse $99. I'm guessing my insurance might have paid her more, or Essentia or somebody, but that's
Right.
what I spent. So it cost me basically $300. Yeah, with insurance. Without insurance, it's like $5,000. Like anything else in diabetes, it's unreachable without insurance. And I'm sure they have a patient assistance program. I have not looked into that. But
I
yeah,
just, my brain is doing diabetes
I
and
know.
insurance math. And wait, I'm sorry. Did you say it cost you 500, $300
300. I paid
and that's for a
directly
year?
for the year. I'm done. I don't have to buy
Ginger,
anything else.
Ginger, I want to tell you a little secret about people on Dexcom, and I have full health insurance. It costs me $180 every 90 days.
Mm.
So this not only sounds like a better device, but a more affordable device. Because and I'm lucky because I talked to so many T1Ds from across the world, well, except for people with universal health care. They get it pretty sweet.
Yes, yeah.
Um, oh, I love them.
I know there's downsides to that as well, but
Yeah,
but still, they don't have to
right.
worry about
But
access.
I literally was watching someone's post, and it's not a friend of mine, but it's a Instagram T1D, and they literally went to go pick up their prescription, especially with deductibles and things like that. And I think it cost her $1,200 for 90 days.
Mm. For
For
what? A
90
Dexcom?
for 3 Dexcoms.
Oh,
Because
yikes.
that's no, that's 30 days. So you get 9 Dexcoms, and it
Oh,
cost her that much money.
yeah.
And to hear that you only paid $300
Yeah.
for a
So
very accurate CGM.
here's how you get insurance approval, okay? So I
Yeah.
first started telling my insurance company, this is giving me a rash, this is irritating my skin, I have very sensitive skin, I'm unhappy, my skin's unhappy. I want to switch to the implantable CGM to spare my skin from the adhesives, because even though this has an adhesive, it's a silicone. It doesn't have, because you can take it on and off a million times a day and you change it every day. They give you
Yeah.
365 adhesives. So I actually have, because this isn't even attached to my skin, it's on the tegaderm, right? Like I haven't really had to change it, but it comes off just like that. I could peel
Oh,
it off
cool.
right now. And, they give you a year's worth. And if you were to run out, they'll give you more. But I complained to my insurance, right, about my skin, and I'm unhappy, and my skin is unhappy, and I sent actually a photo of some rash. Now, that's not necessary. What you really need to do is just convey that your skin is having a really hard time to your doctor so they can put it in the notes. No one's going to ask you for photos if you get my drift, right? So then my insurance company said, well, before we'll approve the Eversense, because that's new and we don't like new things and we don't really care about you, we are going to make you use the Dexcom for 3 months. And I was pissed, but I said, fine. So after 3 weeks on the Dexcom, I said, my skin is unhappy. I'm unhappy. Also, it's giving me terrible data and I feel unsafe. To which the nurse practitioner that I was sending this info, she's like, please double check all your information on your CGM with a glucose meter. Like, that's not the point here. We're
Yeah.
working with the health insurance company. Please tell them that I feel unsafe and my skin is unhappy and I'm getting rashes and it's irritating and it's itchy and I can't handle the adhesives.
Right.
And so I played their game, but I didn't wait 3 months on the Dexcom, right? I waited 3 weeks. I just want to make that really clear. I did
Hmm.
not have to suffer for 3 months just because they want that. You just need to say, no, the alternative was not effective either, and I can't live like this. And
Right.
then that got me approval. And then
That's
the
amazing.
other part that took a little while was that I live in the boonies like you, and there's nobody up here in Vermont, which, by the way, many people might not know is part of the United States. This
Wait,
is
there's
not
debate that Vermont's not part of the
there,
United
not a
States?
debate. There's just simply people across the country that have never heard of Vermont. I'm not kidding, and they don't know
It's the
that
best
it's
state.
part
I
of
haven't
the
even been
United
there.
States. I've met people who thought Vermont was part of Canada, and these are Americans. So anyway, we don't have anyone in Vermont trained to do the insertion, and Eversense was working so hard for me trying to get someone trained at the hospital about 90 minutes away in New Hampshire, but they were running into a lot of just administrative roadblocks that was delaying it, and so that's why they brought up Danielle from Boston, which I feel really lucky because Danielle's done this procedure a million times.
Right.
She also, maybe I wasn't paying attention when she told me how long the patch needed to stay on, the protective healing adhesive, right? And and so I'm like looking at it, and my original one that she'd put on was a little bloody, and it didn't look dry or great for healing.
I think
And
I saw that in your video. I
yeah,
think, did
it
you
was a
post a
little,
video? It had a little bit of the red.
yeah, it
Yeah,
looked
I think I
messy. It
saw
also
that.
had iodine on it, right? So
Okay,
it
yeah.
looked yucky. And I reached out to her through my Eversense rep, and Danielle called me after her workday from her personal cell and helped tell me exactly what to do to change the patch, ensuring that it's as sterile as possible. My 10-year-old helped me, but she was awesome. And we
Yeah,
sent
you
her
got great
the photo
kids.
after. Well, no,
Yeah.
yes, the 10-year-old is
As
awesome.
I'm talking about the kids, but also Danielle.
My 10-year-old I know is really good at that stuff. She's been through major surgery herself when she was like 5, and then she's helped me change a lot of just patch covers for my CGMs in the past. So she's very delicate and careful. So she was very helpful because I just needed one more hand in order to change the patch that's protecting the steri strips and the incision. With sterile gauze, I had sterile gauze and Tegaderm. It's all sterile stuff at
Yeah,
home.
yeah.
So anyway, that's how you get insurance approval. You need to whine and complain and say that what you've got is not working for you, and then they're going to say, "Well, try this instead." And then you say, "Okay," and then you whine and complain and say that's not working for you either, and then you get insurance approval. And that's honestly how it works for things like inhaled insulin too. You have to say, I won't even get it. I have a whole video on Diabetes Nerd YouTube on how to get insurance approval for inhaled insulin. It's a little
Yeah.
more complicated, but it's working their bullshit, to be honest.
That it's also about convincing your endocrinologist or diabetes specialist to
Yeah.
be on
Yeah.
board for this. And I just say this from where I'm from in Maine, which if people weren't aware of that. Me and Ginger both come from states that people think are Canadians. It's one of those things that for me, not only is it a struggle sometimes with insurance, but also convincing my endocrinologist
Yeah.
that, like, hey, this is new. This is
Yeah.
fancy. I've
A
seen
lot of people
people.
get that with inhaled insulin. The doctor says no
Yeah.
because they just
Yeah. And
don't
I'm
know what
curious.
it is. Yeah.
And I'm curious endocrinologist feedback with this too. So if someone like me in Maine was like, because I really think this is an amazing CGM. This is incredible. Like you showed the data on it. Talked about how easy it was. How could someone in the backwoods of Maine
I
get
think
one?
you have,
Would I have
I
to
think
set?
you'd have to travel. They might have someone trained in Portland,
Yeah.
or Portsmouth,
Yeah.
but you need to call up Eversense and get it started, get the process started.
And I just think about also for adolescents and kids, like youth with T1D. What a relief it would be for parents
Yeah.
and for caregivers to know that they don't have to stress about. Because I talk to a lot of parents, and they're like, "Oh, I got to go to the pharmacy. Oh, I got to do this." But this actually eliminates that stress of
Oh,
like having to go
right.
get your 90-day prescription. Like you still have to get your
Yeah.
insulin and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
it's one of those things that you don't have to. And also you don't have to worry about, like, I'm packing to go to Michigan
Yeah.
tomorrow
You don't have to
for
pack a whole bunch of
yeah, you should
extras.
see my bag, like all the extra CGMs. I have like a G7 over here, I have a transmitter,
Yes.
and I have a G6, and
Hey,
then
on that
things like
note,
that.
a thing I learned, a right that you have, one of your rights as a person with a chronic illness that needs to carry a lot of medical stuff. When you go on a plane, you have the right to have an extra carry-on bag that's just medical supplies.
Really?
Yes. So when they're like,
Oh.
ma'am, you can only have one carry-on, you go, these are my medical supplies. I'm getting on the plane. And they have to let you on because your medical supplies, they're like diabetes is a great example. And there's other
Yeah.
conditions too where that could consume your entire carry-on bag
Oh,
easily.
absolutely.
And so
Because
that is your right.
that is good to know that.
Yeah.
Do you
But
have
it
to bring
does
in
mean
any
too.
documentation or anything with that?
No, I mean, I don't know what kind of psycho travels around just with a bag full of diabetes supplies they don't actually need if they don't have diabetes, but like, what would
Yeah.
that say for them?
Hey,
But
you know,
no, I mean, you could if make sure your supplies are in a separate bag, so it's not like you open it and it's like chips and a few CGMs, and like convince them this is your medical bag by putting your
okay.
medical stuff in that bag.
Well, that's incredible. That's good to know.
Is okay. So that is my Eversense experience so
I love
far.
it.
I'm in love, and I'm
Do
really looking
you?
forward to like when I can take this off and just have the cool part. BJ, thank you for letting me. Basically, I feel like I have a new boyfriend, but his name is Eversense, and I'm just like so giddy, and I want to tell you all about it. So thank you for being part of that.
Well, I
And
approve of your boyfriend, like most friends when they share something like we want to get the dirt, but I just want to know if your boyfriend has a brother that's single or a sister
we're sisters.
that you can
I
hook
mean,
me up with.
you
Because,
could
my
totally say.
bisexuality, I'm like, I'll take either end or I'll take them all. I don't care. Brother, sister, I'm a
Listen,
free
I
spirit.
really think that there are more ever senses for you to develop a relationship with. You should go for it.
I would love that because you do take them out to dinner, so to speak. Ta-dun.
Jeez.
Ah.
All right. All
Wait,
right.
wait, 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 wait. Before you go, though, I have a question. Do you know how many diabetics actually are on these things? Because being a girl from Maine, I didn't even know about it until I think I saw
It's
you post
new.
about it.
It's new.
Like,
And they honestly, I don't think they've been doing a lot of marketing.
no,
Or
no,
if
no, they
they have, it's
haven't.
not reaching us. And it's really new. So not many.
Yeah, I have one camper because we had a board meeting about Michigan T1D adult camp that I'm going to this weekend, and we get like medical profiles of like what everybody's on, like whether it's Dexcom and stuff. And we have one out of I think 90 type 1 diabetics on that CGM.
Oh, wow.
Just one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've been posting about it, I have gotten, I'll say like maybe 5 people on Instagram who have messaged me or on like LinkedIn who've messaged me saying, I have one and I love it. So that was really encouraging. I didn't get any messages from people who have one and hated it. It was all, I have one, I love it.
Okay.
But 5 out of thousands, you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious. I can't wait to see where this journey takes you because you have another, what, 360 days with your boyfriend?
Yeah, yes. Hopefully, it takes me to being able to depend and trust my CGM data, being able to sleep better, being able to
Yeah.
leave my CGM on and get alerts without having severe anxiety and rage, because instead of beep, 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 it'll be this nice little buzz on my arm.
It's a gentle boyfriend.
It's a gentle,
It's a very
very
gentle and
supportive, and an
understanding
honest
boyfriend.
boyfriend. It's an honest boyfriend. This is actually giving me the right information. I love my honest ever since boyfriend. I'm in
My
love.
my my honest, gentle, understanding boyfriend.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's true because I was going to say my significant other CGM right now is acting sketchy. I think they're hiding something. Well, and on top of that, right? Like I would like if they
They're
had a
lying.
phone, I would probably go through their phone. But um, but yeah, and then also on top of that, so you were talking about all these benefits. Plus, think about an honest boyfriend, but plus what it's going to do for your A1C. You're going to get an accurate A1C, which is going to
Yeah.
also help us because, like we talked about too, is when if we're reading a number that's incorrect
Yeah.
and then we
Take
get our blood
medicine
work
that's
done and we're like, what the
incorrect.
heck? That
I
doesn't make
mean,
any
I think that
sense.
the dishonest information I was getting from my ex-boyfriend, Libre, I think that was causing me to give myself little micro dose adjustments that I didn't need, which was then putting me at risk of lows and setting me on little blood sugar roller coasters and feeling like I was doing something wrong when in
Yeah.
fact my ex-boyfriend is not being a good partner. We're
No,
done. We're broken up.
I'm
I'm just
glad.
I'm just kind of taunting him now by leaving it on so I can show him how much my new
Yeah.
boyfriend is better.
Well, it looks good. I'm so happy for you that you found the love of your life with that
Thank you.
CGM.
Thank you.
We
And
got to go through some
I know,
heartaches to.
like, if you look at it, I know this one's a lot bigger, but I just love it so much that I don't really care. And it's kind of badass because it's like dark gray and
But don't we want our boyfriends to be big?
yeah. BJ, I have to edit that
I
out.
know. No, you don't. I'm sorry. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
I
You,
do.
you,
This is a
oh, come on.
family show. Oh my
I meant CGM wise. Come on
terrible.
now.
You're
I meant we want to
terrible.
see it. We want to see
All right,
it.
before you get any more clever jokes, thank you for listening, everyone. And yeah, tune in next time.
I
We'll
can't
try to
wait.
manage BJ carefully, maybe next time.
And this is why we're friends. Well, thank you for having me, Ginger, and I am so excited to hear about your new relationship, and I wish you the best of luck. And
thank you. I'll send you lots of photos of me and my new love, like on vacation and, you know, holding hands.
Just hold a martini next to the CGM. You're like,
introduce him to my mom.
Yeah.
All right. That's enough.